We appreciate you guys being part of our live studio audience. And we got a bunch of questions from those folks too. Denovius, our great close personal friend, says if AEW was able to land Shelton Benjamin now, what role would you see him best in? I guess Shelton did an interview recently. Our crack producer Dave Silva said that he read somewhere that Shelton Benjamin was open to the idea of working in AEW, and I was like, "Yeah, you think?" What would you think would be a good fit for Shelton if he were to make the leap to AEW?
Or you get him a single run with somebody that can really wrestle,
Yep.
uh, and let him show his skills. And then you found a partner for him, and you let Sheldon's experience help build the foundation for a tag team.
Well, there you go.
I'm a big fan of Shelton Benjamin, as we all know. That one class. I said this before, and people roll their eyes, which is cool because you're expressing an opinion, and far be it from me to knock your opinion. But when we recruited Cena and Brock, Orton, Batista, the best athlete of that group was Shelton.
Right.
Shelton's issue was personality, just connecting with the audience. So, but I love Shelton. He's a company guy. He's a team player. He came from a team environment, which is always important to me. And so I'm a big fan of his work and of him as a man. So he would help any locker room. I can just imagine what kind of mentor he would be to some of the kids that are not just his color, not African American only, but the young talents. Because his Sheldon's journey has been well documented, and I'm sure proud that I got to hire him because he's a credit to the wrestling business without question.
Hey, you mentioned being a mentor, and Mike Jones III had a great question about that. And he said, JR, you hear about guys like Undertaker and William Regal taking time out to help younger talent. Who are some others in the business that were good mentors to the next generation?
Oh, well, Taker's in that list already. Austin was, believe it or not, once you got it out of him, he was great at helping talents with nuances to matches. Really, really good. Triple H has been really good in that area. But there are several guys. They take. It's a matter who takes a liking to you, and likes your game and sees the potential in you. And we've had a lot of guys over the years that have been really good confidants and mentors and things like that. And the ones that are usually that way, Conrad, are the guys that come out of a system, a sports system. And even though Triple H was not he didn't play, he certainly was a student of the game.
No doubt of that.
No doubt about it. So anyway, yeah, a lot of guys. I feel like that's as a top talent, and you're making the top money. That's your responsibility to help the others raise them up. And I believe that's this day. That's a difference maker. It's very important that we all continue to raise people up. I was glad to get the opportunity for Shivani and I to work with Excalibur. I think it was good for Excalibur at the Sting last two main event matches a week or so ago. So we're all trying to help do our share, do our part in elevating all tides, all boats, I should say, I guess. So, but working with Excalibur in that at Sting's retirement match was a surprise for me, but a pleasant surprise. And I think he and I talked afterwards. I think it's just a matter of he was proud for the opportunity. And you notice that he laid out a lot in that match more than he normally does because he was absorbing information and sponging it up like anybody else in that role. So it's all good. And, but I'm, you just want to be a part of the process, Conrad. It means something to see a talent grow
Yes.
and become better and live their dreams, make a good living, and provide for their family, and be able to pay their bill at the grocery store. It's just so important. So anyway, that's all of our obligation in life. If you're an administrator or you're a senior guy in a company, you're the head coach or whatever it may be. It's your obligation to make those that report in around you and through you to get better. And there's no other way of looking at it. It's your obligation. You took on that obligation when you got the job. I didn't know if you may not have known it, but it's certainly the fact. You're obligated to teach and mentor and coach up. Coaching up's a big deal. If you're good at it, you can make a lot of money in a variety of different ways.
Man, we just got a wild question from our live studio audience. I want to go to our most recent one. Hey, JR, if you could team up with the King, Jerry Lawler, one last time, would you want it to be in AEW or WWE? I think you and Jerry in AEW alongside Tony would be epic. What are your thoughts on that? We haven't talked about Lawler a lot lately. Have you been talking to the King? How's he doing these days? What's the latest with him and his health? And is there a scenario where we could see you and him behind the desk one last time? I mean, that's intriguing. As a fan, I would love to see you and Tony Schiavone and Jerry Lawler once. That'd be awesome.
It would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that either, but it would be fun. I don't stand as much contact with the King as I should. Last time I talked to him, he was feeling better. He's still getting over his ailments. His voice sounded stronger, but I've talked to him in the last 3 or 4 months where his voice didn't sound strong at all, and you wouldn't want him on television sounding like he did. He's better now. So, anytime I had the opportunity to work with Lawler, I'd take it just because it's fun. It's a fun night. It's not off. And Schiavone and Lawler is the new sound, new chemistry. That would be interesting. Is it likely to happen? Heck, who knows? In this business, never say never.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, yeah.
Just never say never, but it'll be a fun assignment to say the very least. And maybe for old time's sake, we'll get that one last shot somewhere down the road.
You know, it's funny that we're talking about that because Jacob had a great question too. He says, if you chose the details of your final broadcasting gig, how would you like your send off to go? Have you given that any thought?
Cake. I need cake.
Well, there you go. I think we can swing that.
I think a match like Osprey and Bryan Danielson is along the line of how the last match I like to call. The Sting retirement thing was special. I really haven't thought that much about what my last match would be because I'm not nearly ready to sit and think about that or whatever. And you're
Right.
kind of a prisoner to the card, you know. You just are. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to work out. But a real good wrestling match, a really good wrestling match that tells a story, not just chopping meat and using chairs and whips and chains and kendo sticks and so forth. That's all well and good, but it should not be the focal point of the contest, in my opinion, for it to be my last one. I like to call a wrestling match where a wrestling hold wins the contest.
What a novel idea.
Yeah.